Hello everyone, welcome to Inside Winston Cup Racing. Today we're in Richmond, Virginia at the 3/4 mile Richmond International Raceway. That's where all the NASCAR action was this past weekend. We'll have highlights of it and lots more in this half hour of Inside Winston Cup Racing.
The Pontiac Excitement 400 turned into a Bill Elliott blowout as he led all but 52 laps, even though Alan Kawicki made it oh so close at the finish. Highlights coming up.
Winston Cup car owner Rick Hendrick is a man of perpetual motion. Whether it's racing cars or selling cars, his business attitude and approach has made him one of the most successful businessmen in America. Today, the first of a two-part look at the man behind the motors, the movie, and the millions.
Well, early this morning, it looked as if the Hardee's 200 might not get off because of lots of rain. But this afternoon, the skies opened up, and Harry Gant drove his car into his third Busch Grand National victory in a row here at Richmond.
Inside Winston Cup Racing is brought to you by cold-filtered Miller Genuine Draft and Miller Genuine Draft Light, taking the country by storm. And by Goodyear, #1 in tires.
All of these championship-winning drivers have one thing in common: Goodyear Racing Eagles. The race-winning technology that's found in the Goodyear Racing Eagles can also be found in the world's best-selling line of high-performance street tires, Goodyear Eagle Street Radials. The champions know, and it's why we say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
Most people choose Jiffy Lube for the same reasons I do. It's close, it's quick, and it's good.
Over 1,000 Jiffy Lubes, 45,000 cars a day.
They also choose Jiffy Lube because they get the world-class protection of Pennzoil. And they get so much more for their money.
Includes free fluid refills between services.
My car is ready in minutes and the work's guaranteed.
At Jiffy Lube, we do your car a great service.
Cold filtered Miller Genuine Draft. For those who've discovered its real draft taste, the world is a very cool place.
In the rain and snow, on the road again, I'm on the road again, on the road again, I'm on the road.
I use a shampoo for dandruff, but my scalp still itches like crazy.
You need new Scalpicin, the revolutionary scalp medicine for deep scalp itch, not ordinary dandruff. Scalpicin is not a shampoo. It's a clear liquid you don't wash away like shampoo. Apply Scalpicin anytime for deep scalp itch relief, with medicine chosen by doctors over all these dandruff shampoo formulas. Scalpicin penetrates to relieve the itch and help prevent flaking.
The itch is gone.
New Scalpicin, the scalp medicine for deep scalp itch.
The Pontiac Excitement 400 was the first short track race of 1992, if you consider a 3/4 mile track a short track. Now, the people here at the Richmond International Raceway consider this a super speedway, and in many ways it is. Now, it was an exciting race that lived up to its name, so let's catch up on the news and the highlights of that race with Randy.
Qualifying for Sunday's Pontiac Excitement 400 was almost rained out, but by 11 a.m. the skies cleared and the cars rolled for practice. Time trials went off on schedule. Kyle Petty was the quickest until Davey Allison turned up the wick. Then it was Bill Elliott. Elliott broke the event record, setting himself up for a possible $197,000 Unicel bonus. Saturday morning's practice session was rained out. After the Busch Grand National event, the teams took to the track for 1 hour. Many spent more time in the garage area than they did on the racing surface. When the red flag fell at 4:30, most were still scrambling for the right setup. Unfortunately for them, Bill Elliott was not. Elliott's pole position proved that for the third race of the Young Winston Cup season, he was once again the guy to beat. Elliott rolled off to an easy early lead over Davey Allison. They were followed by Sterling Marlin, Harry Gant, Hut Strickland, and Alan Kawicki. For the second straight race, Kyle Petty's car experienced handling problems, falling from contention early. Brett Bonine busted a right rear axle, and he went behind the wall more than once. Meanwhile, Elliott continued to cut through the field like a precise surgeon, lapping all but 13 cars by the time the first caution flew on lap 100 for Jimmy Means' blown engine. After pit stops, Elliott held his position, while Davey Allison and Harry Gant went at it for second. As the race hit halfway, guys like Morgan Shepherd, Jeff Woodine, and Dale Earnhardt were already a lap off the pace. By the next round of pit stops, Gant got out front. The Bandit was able to steal some of Bill's thunder, at least for 48 laps. Michael Waltrip was on the move until he brought out the second caution, also for a blown motor. A break for Alan Kowicki, who was almost a lap down in his Hooters Ford at the time. Soon after the restart, Elliott would once again assume the lead, one he would hold until the finish. The 6 lead lap cars all pitted under caution for Brett Bonine's spin in turn 4. Just 4 laps later, Mark Martin hit the wall, also in 4. Only Allison would come in for tires. They'd go green the final 153. Gant a solid second to Elliott. Kowicki, Waltrip, and Allison, as well as Rudd, running for third. But Kowicki came on, conquering Rudd and Waltrip, then Gant for second. And with 20 laps left, had a shot at the win. Kowicki got alongside Elliott on the final turn. Coming off the 4th corner, the 2 Fords went hood to hood, and it was Elliott by a bumper to pick up the second highest payday in Winston Cup history, $272,000.
You know, Alan and Ricky, several other guys that got hooked up pretty good there at the end. My car got a little bit tight getting in the corner. I raced Sterling pretty hard there the last 40, 45, or 55 laps, and I knew it was going to be tight.
Pretty good payday for you today. How's that feel?
Oh, no doubt. I knew when it come down to the checkered flag it was going to be close, and it was, son.
I said we got a lot of our problems out of the way last year, and we're going to come back and be a consistent team, and we will. We had a good run at Daytona. We would have been right in there at Rockingham last week, and they certainly knew we were there today. But, maybe I should be happy for second. Tough to take. We'll be back.
It's always interesting in the first part of the season to see how the point standings change from week to week, and we'll see that for the next several weeks, I'm sure. We need to take a short break. Still to come on this edition of Inside Winston Cup Racing are highlights of the Hardee's 200 Busch Grand National Race and part 1 of a special segment on Rick Hendrick. And as we leave you for this break, here's the balance of the finishing order for the Pontiac Excitement 400.
Put your sweet lips a little closer to the phone.
His beautiful voice is unforgettable.
Let's pretend that we're together all alone.
A legend for all time, Jim Reeves.
Is it really over?
For the first time, his most treasured recordings and biggest hits are in this 2-record collection. The legendary Jim Reeves.
I guess I'm crazy.
All Jim's classics.
I'm just on the blue side of lonesome. Welcome to my world.
There'll never be a voice so pure and personal.
Won't you come on in? Am I losing you? Are my fears coming true? But come ye back when summer's in the meadow.
All the songs you really love.
I can't stop loving.
You'll get 2 complete albums.
Every day I reminisce.
This is the most complete Jim Reeves TV offer ever. But remember, this beautiful 2-record treasury is not sold in stores. So stay tuned to order now. To order, call toll-free 1-800-223-9600 to save all COD charges and pay only $12.98 for records or cassettes or $16.98 for compact disc, plus $3 shipping. Use your credit card or send check or money order to Jim Reeves, P.O. Box 94040, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Remember, save COD charges by sending check or money order or use your credit card.
The pressure, the perfection, the preparation, the hands-on teamwork that determines the difference between winning and losing. Go behind the scenes and follow Daytona 500 victor Davey Allison as he gets ready for what will become his Daytona Experience. Daytona Experience, today, 11 p.m. Eastern, 10 Central, only on TNN Motorsports. Next Sunday, live on TNN Motorsports. Come along for the ride as the Busch Leaguers make their way up the point standings. It's early in the season and it's still anyone's race, so who will inch their way to the top? Watch TNN Motorsports for all the action, live from Martinsville, Virginia. Miller Genuine Draft 500, next Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern, live, only on TNN Motorsports.
Rick Hendrick has become a major force in NASCAR Winston Cup racing. He owns the Tide Chevrolets that Ricky Rudd drives. He also owns the Kodiak Chevrolets that Ken Schrader drives, and occasionally they'll have a research and development car out there as well. Now, he didn't start at the top in this business, nor did he in life. He started at the bottom, as a matter of fact. He opened a car dealership, and now he has 36 throughout the country to make him one of the largest car dealers in the United States. So certainly a very strong business background preceded him coming into Winston Cup racing.
Rick Hendrick is known to racing fans as one of the new breed of Winston Cup car owners. Influential, successful, driven, a multi-millionaire. His success on the racetrack has grown from a one-car team with no sponsor in early 1984 to this two-car operation with major dollars behind it. Paralleling Rick's success in stock car racing has been his success in selling cars. Today at 42, he owns 36 dealerships, sells 25 different makes of cars in 8 different states. Each Monday morning at the Hendrick Management Corporation in Charlotte, Rick gathers his top brass. They lay out new plans for new stores and restructure old ones.
We need to do a little evaluation of the Acura versus the Volvo. I'd like to make that decision this week. I guess one of the questions is, what do we do with that other building if we want that building? And we probably, yeah, maybe I'll make a trip down there toward the end of the week and kind of decide on the swap of the Volvo and Acura, and also the new building, where we put the parts, and if we want to build in Mount Pleasant. Okay. Concord, Mark, you're on top of that.
Yeah, we'll go up there after this meeting to finish the buy-sell for that. And then next week, sell the assets that are in the Honda building to Honda from Southern States.
Okay.
Immediately following the meeting, implementation of those ideas are put into motion by his management team. And I emphasize team. As you would expect, Rick is constantly on the move. He tries to visit each of his stores at least once every 90 days.
Steve handles Tom Cruise's personal cars, everything that Cruise buys.
Didn't quite get as many units, but we made some gross.
Yeah, that's good.
We made a...
That's strong.
Yeah, made a real good deal. Sold a used 400 Saturday, made about 45.
Beautiful. That's good.
City Chevrolet is the oldest in Rick's fleet of dealerships, which is soon to swell to over 40. Over the past 13 years, his philosophy of putting the customer first has been responsible for boosting car sales to over 60,000 per year.
If you're in the shop and you had service, we call you and find out how the service was. Is your car okay? You have any problems? And so it's it's trying to maintain that customer. You don't want to have to generate a new guy every week. You want to have a customer for life after you sell them one car. So we spend an awful lot of time in that. In the parts and service end of the business, we did it to take care of our customers, and also the average age of a car on the road now is 7.5 years. So if they're not buying new ones, they got to get them worked on. So I'll take you back and show you our service department. You know, we scrub the floor in there twice a day. Oh, we'll walk back there if you want to do that.
That makes sense. In our tour of City Chevrolet, Rick is quick to point out that his employees are the backbone of his success, all 2,000 of them, and their performance doesn't go unrewarded.
Oh, congratulations on an outstanding weekend. How many did you get?
64.
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
We started on Thursday.
Thursday, okay.
Thursday.
We recognize our salesmen. We have what we call the President's Club, and the salesmen actually compete against salesmen all over the country in our organization, and we take the top 50 in our company, and we give them a ring and a plaque, and they get a really pretty ring with the crest of the franchise they sell. And the thing they like to do more than anything else, I give them they can either go to California, or they can go to Disney World, or they can come to Charlotte and drive the race cars. And what do you think they pick? They come to Charlotte. Okay.
Hendrick appeals to people. He's unpretentious despite his success, and always personable. A perfect character to base a movie upon. And they did, as Randy Quaid loosely portrayed Rick as a car dealer, Winston Cup car owner in Days of Thunder, and Tom Cruise as Rick's rising star driver, Tim Richmond.
There's nothing I can't do with a race car.
He called me one day and he said, I got a producer that wants to come to town and meet you and a writer, and let's talk about it. And so when they came in, Robert Town spent a couple of days with me. Then he said, well, how did you get started? And I told him, and then he met Harry Hyde, so they based a movie on that deal.
Everything Rick Hendrick does ties together with his love of racing, and he doesn't mind sharing it with his employees, as he brings many of them to the racetrack each week.
We don't know Rick Hendrick that well yet. We've just known him for about a week. But from what he's done for us so far, he made an effort to bring us out here, got us pit passes, garage passes, and he's a good guy.
Even though he's currently the largest Honda dealer and Saturn dealer in the United States, Rick doesn't take his success for granted.
I know a lot of dealers that are better car people and business people, a lot smarter than I am. And I just happen to be one of the first guys around that had an opportunity to be with Honda and Chevrolet. And you know, a lot of people thought Honda wasn't going to make it, so I gambled, and, you know, it hit for me.
When it comes to marketing, Hendrick has the Midas touch. He sells racing, and in turn, that sells passenger cars.
Every time we open a Saturn store, we take one of these cars and fit it up like this. And what we do is we go over to the track, and we take the salespeople, and we take the media. When we open a new store, we invite the media, like in Hickory. It was unbelievable. We had newspaper, TV, and they all came and drove, and they had a ball. And so it's a promotional tool that ties the racing into the dealerships, and it gets us a ton of free publicity.
Now, next week, we're going to take a look at another side of Rick Hendrick, and that is his approach and his influence in NASCAR Winston Cup racing. We need to take a short break. When we come back, we'll have highlights of the Hardee's 200 Busch Grand National race from here at Richmond, and we'll also have the mailbox, so you stay with us.
About to see how Goodyear is changing all-season driving right before your eyes. Introducing AquaTread, only from Goodyear. AquaTread's advanced design channels water out of your way for dependable all-season traction, especially in the rain when you may need it most. AquaTread, the newest reason why we say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
Miller Genuine Draft. For those who've discovered its real draft taste, the world is a very cool place.
Last spring, Bill Elliott finished second to Ken Schrader in the Motorcraft 500. Last fall, Elliott won the pole for the Hardee's 500, but finished third. Now Elliott takes aim on Atlanta, looking for his third straight win of the season and his first win on his home track since 1987. We'll have all the highlights of the Motorcraft 500.
And we'll have part 2 of our series on Rick Hendrick. He's taken a lifelong love of cars and turned it into a career as a car dealer and Winston Cup owner. A look behind the scenes at Rick Hendrick.
Last year, the Busch Grand National drivers got to try their hand at something totally new. They ran the road course at Watkins Glen. This year, they're going to do it again, only now on the Super Speedway in Atlanta. We'll have all the action next week.
Harry Gant has certainly been the hottest driver here at the Richmond International Raceway for the past couple of years. He won both Busch Grand National races here in 1991, and he also followed it up with a victory in the Hardee's 200, even though he started from far back in the field. But, Dan, there's a young fellow now who's pretty hot on winning poles.
All right, well, Jeff, this is your second pole in a row. You guys have started off the season running real well. Now you're in front here, but you got a lot of tough competition behind you. What's it going to take to stay out front today?
Well, I think consistency is probably going to be the main thing. Hoping that we hit the right setup. We didn't get any practice this morning because of the rain, so we just hope that we hit the right setup, tighten the car up just enough for the race, and we can run up front all day long and come across with our first Busch Grand National win.
Jeff Gordon realized he was going to have his hands full. He had Chuck Bound beside him and Bobby Labonte behind him. As the race got underway, Chuck Bound wrestled his Pontiac under Gordon before the first lap was completed. By the 5th lap, Bobby Labonte had also passed the Baby Ruth Ford. The first of only 4 cautions came out on lap 21. Mike Wallace looped his car between turns 1 and 2. He returned to the race after some first aid was applied to his race car. Bobby Labonte let Bound know he was behind him with a few racing taps early. After side-by-side racing for several laps, Labonte got by. Bound led 47 laps and wouldn't return to the helm. Kenny Wallace and Joe Nemechek were staging a battle for 4th. Some excellent racing was taking place as far back as 15th. Steve Grissom and Ward Burton battled for that spot. All the while, handsome Harry Gant was forging his way through the field. He started the race 28th, and by lap 69, he had overtaken Chuck Bound for 5th. 2 laps later, he passed Jimmy Spencer for 4th. Lap 78, yellow number 2 came out. Joe Bessie and Robert Presley wrecked in turn 3. Bessie continued, but Presley's car was pushed back to the garage area. At this time, all the leaders came in for fuel and tires. When they left, it was Labonte, followed by Darrell and Michael Walter. On lap 103, Gant again made his presence known. He overcame DW for 2nd. Lap 109, Gant shot out front for the remainder of the race. Jeff Gordon was resurfacing. He and Bobby Labonte were going at it for 2nd. On lap 122, Labonte got the advantage. Kenny Wallace kept his Pontiac in the front pack for most of the afternoon. On lap 145, he got by Darrell Walter for 4th. Troy Beebe brought out the 3rd caution with a harmless spin in turn 2. The biggest and last caution was on lap 176. Jim Bound, Jack Sprague, Ward, and Jeff Burton all tangled in turn 1. Both of the Burton brothers' autos needed major surgery. Jeff's was too severe to continue. Ward finished, but it was a disappointing 27th. As the race went on, it was clear Gant would win. Behind him, Kenny Wallace and Bobby Labonte waged a serious war going door-to-door the final 13 laps. Wallace got the advantage on the final lap for 2nd. Labonte was 3rd. The victory for Gant was his 3rd in a row at the Richmond Raceway. He took home over $15,000 for the win. Harry, congratulations, man. You get this track covered, aren't you?
Yeah, so far, hope it lasts a bit for us, so we'll be okay.
Today's mailbox is brought to you by Miller Genuine Draft.
Our question today is from Albert Transzoo of Greentown, Pennsylvania, who writes, while attending the Dover race in September, before the engines were started, all the gas men stood by the gas pumps with their 2 cans of gas. As soon as the engines were started, they all ran back to their pits with their gas cans. Why did they have to stand by the gas pumps? Well, Albert, for that answer, we'll go to Bill Brodrick. He's the Public Relations Director for Unocal, who supplies the gasoline for these race cars.
That's a good question, Albert. The reason is safety more than anything else. All the cans are full at that time, and NASCAR requires that we keep the pits clear until the race is actually underway. That way we don't have everybody moving full gas cans into the pit and have it sitting there before the race is started so nobody can watch the gas cans. Good question.
If you have any race questions, you can write to us at Inside Winston Cup Racing, Box 240-417, Charlotte 28224. If we use your question on the air, you'll receive this embroidered Miller Genuine Draft jacket free. Fans 21 and under will receive an IWCR cap and T-shirt.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. Hope you enjoyed the show, and you be sure to be with us here next week on TNN when we'll come to you from Atlanta, Georgia. See you then.
Inside Winston Cup Racing has been and Miller Genuine Draft Light, taking the country by storm. Transportation for Inside Winston Cup Racing crew provided by Fleetwood Enterprises, makers of a full line of excellent recreational vehicles. Communications for Inside Winston Cup Racing crew provided by Racing Radios, Forest Park, Georgia, the official communications of NASCAR.
A Taste of Ireland with John McNally, Tuesday on TNN. Last year, she sank the winning putt to close. PGA Hall of Famer Nancy Lopez takes center stage again to talk about this year's classic. That's Nancy Lopez live Monday night on Nashville.